Oh boy, it's good to be back.
Roger Federer has announced to the world that he does, in fact, care about the #1 ranking, despite millions of people saying that he didn't. Novak Djokovic has had some kind of mysterious procedure. Some call it a surgery, but suspiciously, Novak Djokovic refuses to use the word surgery. So we'll dive a little deeper into that mystery later in the show. Also, Stanislav the Manislav Wawrinka is back in action. He looks a little better, but he does not look like himself. Will he ever return to form? And finally, if you stick around long enough today, you might get to hear me talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. I'll give you a hint. Those guys didn't win it. And you definitely will get to hear me talk about Express. All that and more on today's show. Let's get into it. Boy, oh boy, it's good to be back, and it felt like forever. I'm so sorry, I'll never leave again. So big news happened, and everyone knew that I had to do a show when that news hit. You just knew it. I can't contain it within myself. I want to explode with joy. Federer is going for the #1 ranking after I heard even Fedheads out there like yourself. Maybe not you, probably not you. This audience, smartest tennis audience in the world, without a doubt. But even some of you who love Federer have said he doesn't care about getting back to #1. It's no longer a priority at this advanced stage of his career. And I've always disagreed with that. I've always thought, yeah, maybe it's not #1. Maybe to Roger, it's like, well, if I have to choose between being #1 in the world again or winning Wimbledon again, I'm going to take one more Wimbledon. But it's not like that anymore. And obviously, if the opportunity presents itself, Roger is more than happy. In fact, I've heard, now I can't confirm this, but I have heard this from reliable sources. I have spies all around the world who send me little private Twitter messages and give me lots of great information from the tennis world. So thank you to my spies. You know who you are. I heard that Tony Godsick, Roger Federer's agent, reached out to the people at Rotterdam, the tournament directors and so forth, right after Roger won the Australian Open, the very next day. So think about that. What would that mean if it is true? And I'm assuming it's very true because, they're not planning on holding a wild card on the side for Roger. So you got to let them know, hey, we're thinking about playing it. Maybe hang on the one more wild card before you give it to some guy from the Netherlands. And of course, they were like, oh, we'll hold on to 2 wild cards for Roger, just in case any of his friends want to play too. So the last time Roger played at Rotterdam, I believe was 2013, but I think the last time he won it would be 2012, which kind of foreshadowed the win at Wimbledon and the return to the #1 ranking. And I must remind you, if you're a younger Fed head out there, or just a tennis fan, maybe a Raw fan here, or a Joker face, or a 1% Murray, you might not remember that back in 2012, people were really shocked by Roger getting back to the #1 ranking in his 30s. They were talking about how uncommon it is, how rare it is. And Agassi holds the record for the oldest world #1 in the Open era at age 33. Agassi did it. So for Roger to do it, really incredible. So Fed heads out there, you better have your fingers crossed that nothing goes wrong. Let's look at that draw and see what potentially could go wrong for Roger. Put it on the screen, please, Mr. Goat. So Roger gets a qualifier first. I don't think we know who that is yet. We should know maybe tomorrow or later tonight. In the second round, Roger could face the flamethrower beast mode Russian Karen Khachanov. Philip Kohlschreiber, the German, nice one-handed backhand. Next up, he could face Stan Wawrinka. So that would be the quarterfinals. So this is a 32-man draw. This is a small tournament. 32 people in, very different than the 128 people in that we see at the majors. So Roger will be in the quarterfinals if he gets through the first 2 rounds. His third round is the quarterfinals. And he could possibly play Talon Griekspoor. Never heard of that guy. Comment below if you've heard of Talon Griekspoor from the Netherlands. I think they say Nederlands there. Anyways, Talon Griekspoor, he could face him, but likely Roger will play Stanislav Manislav Wawrinka. And that's it. Roger can go home after that because he'll be #1 in the world. Of course, Roger would love to win another title. I know some of you out there are wondering if he'll ever catch the all-time record for most titles. I think he's got a shot at it, especially if he keeps playing places like Rotterdam. He could face Alexander Sasha Zverev in the semifinals, which no problem there. I really don't have much faith in Zverev so far. I know he's very talented, but he hasn't proven to me that he's got what it takes mentally. He could also play Jo-Willy Tsonga, although Tsonga just had to retire with injury in Montpellier. So who knows what kind of shape Tsonga's in. We'll see if he even plays the tournament. It's coming up soon. In the finals, Roger could face any of these guys, like Birdman. Tomas Berdych could get there. Feliciano Lopez always has a chance on a surface like this. Let's see. David Goffin, of course, although David Goffin just lost to Gasquet, Richie Rich. Luc Capuis looks pretty good. He's got a shot. And, of course, Grigor Dimitrov is the number 2 seed in this tournament. So it'll be Federer, Daddy Fed versus all grown-up Fed in the final if the seeds hold up. So I don't see any trouble there. The only trouble I see is if Roger loses interest like he did in Dubai last year when we had the Donskoy debacle. Hashtag Donskoy debacle. So comment below if you think anyone in that draw is scary, or if you think maybe we could see something like in Dubai when we had the Donskoy debacle. Hashtag Donskoy debacle. I think this is very different, personally. I think this is, last year going in Dubai, Federer is coming off of like a 6-week-long party, right? Think about how excited the whole Federer family and friends were after he wins the Aussie Open after taking 6 months off from the sport. Shocking stuff. This is very different. Now Roger's coming to town to claim what is rightfully his, the number 1 world ranking in tennis. Big deal, very different. So I don't think we see Roger lose interest or whatever he said last year, get bored out there. I know he didn't say exactly that, but he said something kind of like that last year. We're not going to see that. I don't think any of these guys can beat him if he plays well. And the one that matters the most, obviously the qualifier in the first round, you got to win that. I'll go with Karen Khachanov because, I like Khachanov a lot, although I hate his forehand grip. He holds it like this. It's hideous. Roger holds it all the way over here pretty much. And this guy's holding it here. Ugh, gross. I mean, don't get me wrong. His movement is great, and he hits the ball so hard. It's really fun to watch him. But every time I see that forehand grip, I'm like, God, ugh. But really, the matchup that everyone is talking about already is going to be Stanimal, Stand-a-Man, Stanislav the Manislav Wawrinka in the quarterfinals versus Roger playing for number 1. If Roger can get past him, who knows if he can even get there. So today, we saw Stan lose to this guy named Basic. I mean, I've never heard of him. Comment below if you heard of Basic. So Stan will have to get past these guys from the Netherlands to get to Roger. That's doable. There's not any incredible players from the Netherlands. I mean, Robin Haas is pretty good. But come on, Stan should be able to handle him. He had a tricky match against Viktor Tricky Troitsky the other day. I got to watch that entire match. And I didn't see the Basic match. I just watched the highlights before the show today, so I know at least what happened. And to me, this is what I hope is the case with Stan, from what I can tell so far from watching him play against Tricky Troitsky and seeing the highlights from the Basic match. Stan is slow looking. He's a little sluggish out there, and I don't think it's because his body's compromised. I hope. We never know. I think his body's on the path to recovery, but like I said with Rafa at the start of the Aussie Open and even Djokovic to some extent, but especially Rafa, when you get the lower extremities hurting, you don't get to run around and move like normal because you're sitting around most of the time just letting the body heal. So Stan hasn't been moving. So anytime you don't play a ton of tennis for a few weeks or longer, you kind of slow down and you get a little sluggish. And that's what it looks like with Stan. And when the feet are slowing down, the footwork's not as crisp, the shot making's not as good. So you see Stan miss some shots where it's like, he could have hit that harder. Normally, wouldn't he hit that harder? Or he missed that by a couple feet. That looks like a shot he would usually make, or miss by a couple inches, not a couple feet. So stuff like that, it looks like he's just working his way back into shape. So this is a great tune-up what he did in Sofia, which could have been the Stanislav the Manislav Open. He's the last person in the draw that anyone's ever heard of. It looks like it's going to be a qualifier who's going to win that whole tournament now. So they're really happy over in Sofia. It's in Bulgaria, where, of course, grown-up Fed Dimitrov's from. So, yeah, I think that was smart for Stan to go to Sofia, play against these low-ranked players, give him a chance to get some matches in and kind of feel his game again. I think he'll get to Roger. I think Roger will blow him off the court. I don't think he's going to be fit enough, ready enough at that point. But you never know. He might throw himself at Roger and just do everything he can. Could see a really exciting match if that match happens. So, my prediction, Roger wins the whole thing, or at the very least, makes it to the semis, gets that number 1 ranking, but come on. This looks like another title in Fed's big bag of titles. All right, let's get into my articles that I like to print out. First up, we've got Novak Djokovic. So Novak Djokovic had an operation, a surgery, a procedure. It's very strange. And I don't think these articles, which I haven't even looked at yet, I just printed them off, I don't think they're going to have any new information for us. I think the way the media works today is like you look at what the player says in social media, then you look at what fans comment below, and then you make an article out of that. It's not as bad as Express, but it ain't exactly ideal. This is from BBC, and this is the third, so a little over a week ago. Novak Djokovic has further procedure on elbow injury after Australian loss. Novak Djokovic says he has had a small medical intervention. That's what the quote is. Djokovic called it a small medical intervention. What in the world is that? On a persistent elbow injury and is on the good road now to full recovery. Another weird thing that he said. The former world number one returned after 6 months out when he blah, blah, blah. We know that. Lost to unseeded Hyun Chung. We know that. It's quite a journey, this one, I have to say. I'm learning a lot for that, and I'm grateful. I've always taken care of my body, looked for the most natural ways to heal. My body's rewarded me with incredible years on the tour. I'm super positive, excited to follow the recovery through, come back to the place I love the most, the tennis court. Been carrying this injury for 2 years. Is he going to say anything new? And during this time, I've been seeing many doctors. Took 6 months off. We know that. Agree with my team. I would try different methods. After I finished in Australia, and a few days ago, I accepted a small medical intervention on my elbow. It seems like I am on the good road now to full recovery. 1 week later, tennis.com. Novak Djokovic is back in rehab training following the elbow procedure. Bothered by a few injuries. Come on, let's get to the good stuff. Djokovic put up a video. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a picture on the screen, where he's basically just using a rubber band to do some little footwork and then pull this way. So if the elbow is really like jacked up, you wouldn't be able to do that too easily. But then again, you really use your core for that kind of an exercise. So it's not like he's pulling with his elbow. He's using the core mostly. Put a video of himself, social media, doing arm exercises. See, this just goes to show you. Come on. This is tennis.com. Arm exercises using a stretch rope. What? They don't know what the stuff's called at tennis.com? It's a TheraBand. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's a stretch rope. I think it's a TheraBand. Doing arm exercises. He's doing core exercises. Bozos. The Serb is confirmed to having a medical intervention on the injured right elbow since his fourth-round retirement and long-running injury. Blah, blah, blah. Djokovic said he would be sharing his rehabilitation in progress, but did not specify his plans for returning. It's a big mystery. They don't know nothing. They got nothing over there at tennis.com. This is what we think about that article. Nothing. It's a big mystery. Djokovic is so secretive. He's more secretive than Roger Federer. Can't believe I'm saying that. If you know anything about what's going on with Djokovic, because it's a mystery to me still. I've tried to find out. I've searched every article I could. It's barely even, if you search Google for tennis news, you don't even see anything about Djokovic. You gotta search for Djokovic news. Anyways, comment below if you know anything about it. What is the medical intervention that he had on his elbow? Is it acupuncture? What could it be? What kind of, if you're a doctor, maybe you're a doctor or a rehab person, you watch Coffee Break Tennis, comment below. Please speculate wildly. I'm very curious. Obviously, the exercise he was doing, it's mostly the core, but it's the arms are involved. I mean, you got your arms holding a TheraBand or a stretch rope, as they say at tennis.com. Who knows? Comment below if you know anything more about it. Let's move on. Put it on the screen. Last story of the day. The Express said Rafans. What the heck? Comment below. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I invented Rafans. I thought I'm the only person on the planet to say Rafans. Am I a bozo? Am I being a bozo? Comment below if I'm being a bozo. How could I just assume that I'm the only person to ever think of that? If you've ever said Rafans or heard someone say Rafans before you saw me do it, I did it like half a year ago for the first time. Comment below. Let me know. First time on here. I've said Rafans before that. From the Express, Rafa Nadal fans are absolutely buzzing after Tennis Star's latest Facebook post. Okay, so they didn't use it themselves. They're saying that the fans use it. Rafa Nadal's Facebook page is being flooded with messages by super fans describing themselves as Ra fans. And it has all got a bit too friendly as fans beg to touch Nadal while others declare their undying love. I'm so happy that Fed heads are not like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. We love the guy, but So I thought I'd read some of these crazy posts that the Rafans said. I'll just read one. You are perfect, Rafa. In all of your movements, your legs, your arms, the position of your head, everything gives us, during the match, the pleasure to see the absolute perfection. Nobody else does it. I could sit here and debate that Roger does it a little bit better. But that would be unbecoming. Okay, one more. You are a star, Rafa, the supernova of stars, simply the best. We are privileged to be witnesses to your genius and sportsmanship. I'm framing this one. Anyways, hey, if you're a Raw fan, comment below. We're happy you're here. Joker faces, Raw fans, Fed heads, and 1% Murray fans. You're all welcome here at Coffee Break Tennis, and especially that 0.0001% of fans of other players not mentioned. I just want to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. I felt really bad when Tom Brady lost because I connected Federer and Brady because of last year. I said, Brady gets to the Super Bowl, Federer wins the Aussie Open, Brady wins the Super Bowl. So when Roger wins the Aussie Open, I thought, well, the fate is sealed, right? Brady's going to win the Super Bowl. And I just wanted to point out, because the aging GOATs like Fed and Brady, when you see their greatness fade away, it makes you feel very human, right? It makes you scare you, right? Scare you about your own life. Make you scared for Roger, make you think, the end came to Brady and next it's going to come to Roger. No one can sustain this incredible level of play in their sport forever. But just want to point out to you, if you didn't see the Super Bowl, it was not Brady's fault. In fact, in the Super Bowl, they give the MVP to someone from the winning team. But if you had to give the MVP to someone from either winning or losing team, you got to give it to Brady because the guy threw for over 500 yards. Even though Nick Foles is the winning quarterback on the other team, he got 300-something yards. Brady got 500-something yards. Brady did his job. It wasn't all on him. Not going to put blame anywhere else. Just want to let you know that football GOAT didn't have the benefit that the tennis GOAT, Roger Federer, had of playing the game all by yourself. That's the thing with team sports. You can't just pick it up and win it like Rafa and Roger, Djokovic, guys like that we see will themselves to victory against all odds because you're all by yourself out there on the tennis court. Maybe that's why tennis is the best sport in history. All right, that's about it for me, guys. Thank you for watching Coffee Break Tennis today. It's good to be back since Roger is playing next week. Guess what? That means I'll be making videos almost daily next week, so look forward to a lot of Coffee Break Tennis. Also, we will announce the schedule for the in-between tournaments parts of the years. That's going to be coming next week during the coverage of Roger's run to #1, so look out for that. See ya!